barrel screens, then you don't have to worry as much about grabbing that top hammer, because the barrel, level 5 wild barrels, they drop down a lot more shallow pattern, and they don't go over there all the way to where the top hammer is. They'll drop down to the right of you over there. So I'm just literally just waiting for the 3200 on the bonus right now. This is the sorry about that, I'm just messing around. The safe way to do this, I'll show you. The safe way is just to camp out near the hammer there. So if you're trying to get a game going, that's what you do. To be more aggressive and to really maximize the first screen, you try and do more than that. Like if I'm up there already, like, and there's a lot of time to go before 3200, then I'll go up and try and group barrels and then try and come back down, which of course a lot of times there'll be a fireball in the way, so you end up dying a lot trying to do that. But it is only level 1, and just restart the game, it's not a big deal. See, like right there, I just naturally started going up because there wasn't anything left for me to do that would beat the clock. If you just jump singles, you're not beating the clock. But if you can get triples like this, then you're, especially if you can follow it down like that, beating the clock. I had a feeling that was going to happen too. Well, it's hard to talk about too much more when I can't get through the first screen of the game here. So I'll try and I'm just going to try and get through these screens now so that I can move on. Let's do the safe way, so just camp out over here. Don't get aggressive. Just literally wait now. Try and group barrels like right there if the opportunity is there, but so you forced me to grab it there. So now you'll see how badly the barrels just don't steer right now. There's nothing steering. And now it probably switched, so they are going to steer now at the end, but that's how you end up with a really bad bottom hammer, if you grab it too early on level 1 like that. You can see my score is reflecting that. So there's more time now to mess around with grouping, but it's definitely not going to make up for a bad bottom hammer. If you think about it, there's a lot of math involved. Smashing barrels with the hammer is definitely the most productive thing you can do. So that's why the top players get all the hammers, especially on the barrel screens. As you think about it, each barrel is basically worth 100 bonus points, and to beat the clock, you want to be getting more than 100, right? So every barrel you smash is worth 300 points. So you're getting 300 per barrel on each smash because they're all rolling down to you. As long as you don't miss any, getting 300 per barrel. Whereas if you group 2 barrels together and you jump them over for 300 points, if you think about it, they're each worth 100 bonus. So you're getting 300, but it costs you 200. So you're actually, to jump a double like that is basically worth 150 points per barrel. Whereas if you smash them, they're worth 300 points per barrel. If you get a triple, even though there's a 800 point sprite, you're actually only getting 500 points for jumping the triple. If you look at the score closely when it happens. It's a little bug in the game. So if you look at the math behind jumping a triple, there's 3 barrels at play and you're getting 500 points, so it's worth 166 points per barrel, which is a little better than the 150 points per barrel you get for a double. So obviously it is worth doing if you can get it, but it's not worth as much as you would think. if given the choice, it's better to smash them. Like in the bottom, setting up for a bottom hammer, for example. So I can get out of this screen here. If you're setting up for a bottom and you got a group of 3 coming at you, and you're trying to decide whether or not to grab the hammer before or jump the triple and grab it after, it's better to grab it before and smash the 3 barrels, because it's 900 points if you smash the 3 barrels, and whereas you're only going to get 500 points for jumping over them. So there's a lot of thinking like that throughout the game. And on the other hand, if that triple is coming but there's hardly any other barrels on the screen, you know, it's all well and good to smash those 3 with the hammer, but if there's hardly any other barrels on the screen, you're not going to have a very productive hammer. So in that case, you would jump over the barrels for 500 points instead of smashing them for 900, but then you wait just a little while longer and get all the barrels stacked up and have a really good bottom hammer. So it's just, when you're point pressing, it's just constant decision making like that. It's all very mathematical, and a lot of it is not clear cut either, and you're trying to do it like on the fly. So it's there's a lot to it. So here I'm hoping to get them all, but I probably won't. If I can get that one up top, I can end up actually having a decent score, because it's, no, but if he goes over there, I have a chance. So I'm hoping to trap it up in the right corner. Yeah, so see, now I have 1800 bonus. Now if the other fireballs were not in play here, I could count on getting about 4,500 points over here, because you get 1,000 points for every 400. So you're losing 1,800 bonus, picking up 4,500. It's just a huge net of points being able to do this. Whereas if I went and tripped that rivet right away, so yeah, I like to gamble here. It's only level 1, and it didn't work out, so I restart the game. But the reason I gamble is because it's such a massive difference on level 1. The difference between 400 bonus and 1,000 jumping points. Level 2, the timer speeds up a little bit, and you're getting approximately 1,000 for every 500 bonus. On level 3, speeds up a little more, so it's more like 1,000 for every 600 bonus. And then for the rest of the game after that, you have a fast timer, and it's about 1,000 for every 800 bonus. So it's actually not very profitable in the later stages of the game. I decided to do it there because it's a 300 jump plus 2 smashes. Even though I'm not quite at 3,200, I feel like that made up for it by having that really good combo there. And it's a little unlucky to not get that blue barrel, but so I probably still only got about 7 barrels. It's not, and you can see my score is still a little weak, but it wasn't that bad of a play to do it there, because I have now more time to try and do some grouping and make up a little bit for it. Now I was talking about grouping as far as if you get a double, and it's basically 150 points per barrel. But if you rejump it, it's the same barrels that you're rejumping, right? So it's the same bonus that got that came off the clock. So it's basically like free points. You're not losing any bonus points to do the rejump, and you're getting another 300 points. So that to rejump barrels, like a group of like a double or possibly a triple, is extremely profitable. So instead of 150 points per barrel for those 2 barrels, now you're up to getting another 300, costing, for the same 200 cost, and so now you're up to 300 points per barrel at that point, right? So that's assuming you don't miss any other ones on the way. A lot of times you'll miss a barrel, like over there in that section where it's a popular grouping spot to try and re-jump barrels. A lot of times you'll actually miss one, like going down the broken ladder on the side while you're re-jumping that group of two. So you have to factor that in as well, but it's still very profitable to do it. Let's see if I can actually get to the elevators. So I have something more to talk about. I screwed that up completely. I can get these two. I have a shot. I would like for these ones to go up the right side. Oops. I'm playing really bad. Talking and playing actually is pretty tough. So, since this is taking too long, I'm just going to fly through these screens so I can get to the next part of the game. If you're still listening. I won't have time to finish a full game now anyway, so just practice. And another thing on these rivet screens too, if you notice the way I was normally getting them before, I did it differently this time, but on the first 4 levels, I'll go ahead and get that prize on the bottom, the middle prize, and then I'll turn around and continue with what we call a star pattern, which is skipping that second rivet and then coming back and using the hammer. The reason is because they spawn more slowly in the beginning of the game, and so you can wait. I'm sure you know how the fireballs will spawn on the opposite side of where you're standing, and so that middle ladder is fairly close to the middle of the screen. So if you're on the left or if you're on top of that ladder, they'll spawn on the right side. And you want them to be spawning on the right side. You don't want them starting off spawning on the left side, because then your star pattern gets ruined. But since the time between spawning is pretty long at the beginning of the game, you can actually time it so that you kind of wait there by that ladder, wait for a firefox to spawn to your right, and as soon as one spawns, you can go grab that prize quickly and come back. And usually if you time it well, then the next one won't spawn on your left. You'll get it to spawn on your right, and you'll net that prize, and with minimal risk. Once it gets to level 5, they spawn really quickly, and there's really no way to get that prize without getting one to spawn on the left side, which pretty much ruins your day. So at that point, the pattern changes and you skip that prize. Alright, so elevators, the beginning of the game, you have a slow timer, and pretty easy springs, so that's why you spend pretty much all the clock over here leeching this fireball, because for each spring that's released, you're losing 100 points. So if the fireball is not here, but you're able to leech the spring every time, you're not losing any. And you'll notice here that when it's up here, I'm leeching way more than the rate that the springs are coming out. So when the fireball is up, that's when you're gaining points. And there's also some little tricks involving how to get them to, sometimes when they're in the second one is the freezer of the screen. Every other fireball basically is a freezer. And when it starts going into that, mode, you can get it to freeze up here on the top, and that's kind of the most profitable